to another episode of the Easy Cage. Oh. Guys, I am Darfies.
And I'm Randy Cage.
Yeah. So this is episode 159 of the Easy K Show. I hope everyone is having a very good Monday. Somebody, once again, slacks and is too busy playing games that came out 20 years ago instead of
New season of Fortnite did it for me.
Yeah, Fortnite. Yeah, greatest game ever. The only game that exists, according to my nephew. Because I can't ever buy him video games because he will. Oh, I was like, I'm just gonna play Fortnite forever.
You can get him some V-Bucks.
No, I'm good. So Ray Case, how you been?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Watched the first Matrix. Still love it.
It's a great movie. Matrix?
I heard that I was meaning to tell you this anyways. Tell everybody. You can go to the PlayStation Store and download the Matrix Restart or something. I don't know. It's an Unreal Engine 5 tech demo that they're doing. And it's supposedly going to show off the new Unreal Engine, which is supposedly amazing, but also it's going to tease the new movie or something, or maybe set up a new game. I'm not really sure, but they showed one little scene from it, and Keanu Reeves is photorealistic. I mean, he is the best computer graphics I have ever seen. Like, it looks like they're recording him with a camera. So it's worth checking out, I think, for PlayStation 5 owners. You can download it right now, but you can't play it until the Video Game Awards, which are on Thursday, I think. So, I think it's Thursday you'll be able to actually play whatever it is. It's 30 gigs, so it must be something pretty significant.
Well, I'll be able to do that when the new Matrix movie comes out. I mean, I have a feeling
that it's not gonna be good.
It's gonna be terrible. The movie.
I don't know.
I'm having that Spidey sense on it. But one thing that I know that is apparently amazing is West Side Story, which got me really excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing that now, even more so because I was very optimistic of it. Just because it's a remake. You never know where you're going to get with a remake. Spielberg's never done a musical, but apparently it's awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing that even more now. So that gets to our list.
95% right now.
Yeah.
On Rotten Tomatoes.
So that gets to our topic of the week. This month, as always, we always do a random top 10 of the month. And this month, we are honoring the career of Steven Spielberg, a man who has made a career in 4 decades of films at this moment. Now that he is hitting West Side Story, he has made movies in 4 different decades, from the 70s all the way up to it's like 5 decades. So, right, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Yeah, so really, he has 5 decades of films to look over. So, I mean, a very big career, a guy who created the summer movie blockbuster. Without him, you don't get all the movies like Star Wars doesn't probably happen. You don't get Jurassic. You don't get like the big movie blockbusters. But then he's made some pretty good dramatic films as well. So he has a big versatile career, and I'm really looking forward to talking about some Spielberg. I can't believe we haven't done this topic yet. I'm glad we're finally going to get to talk about him.
Yeah, I felt like when I was making this list, we were having deja vu, but I guess it's just because a lot of our other lists have included Spielberg movies.
They have.
But yeah.
All right, guys. Once being Rain Cage's set topic, we'll go in separate ways and file our own separate top 10s. Rain Cage will do his 10 to 8. I'll do my 10 to 8. He'll do his 7 to 6. I'll do my 7 to 6. Then we'll trade one apiece. Once we have to file our own separate top 10s, we will create the show between the two of us. So, Rain Cage, I started first last time, so you go first this time.
Okay. Well, my number 10 is Hook.
Never seen it.
This movie, I think we've talked about it before about a couple times for some list. I don't know, but it's kind of like some people's guilty pleasure movie. It's one of my favorite like Peter Pan movies because one it stars Robin Williams, and Robin Williams is amazing, and it's kind of like a he's all grown up, and he doesn't believe anymore in uh, Neverland or anything like that, and then he kind of gets pulled back into the world and has to kind of believe again. It kind of reminds me, what's that movie with Ewan McGregor? The Clue movie.
Yeah, Christopher
Christopher
Robin.
Robin. Yes, it's like that, except with Peter Pan. And Robin Williams is great in it. Dustin Hoffman plays Captain Hook. Julie Roberts is the Tinkerbell. It's a good movie. It's goofy and it's definitely a product of the 90s. But I really enjoy it. I haven't seen it in a while, and I feel like the last time I talked about it, I was like, I want to rewatch this.
That's usually how it goes when we do these top tens. We're all like, man, I kind of want to watch that. And they're like, and then another list comes up, and you're like, yeah, so I haven't watched that, but I'm going to watch it.
I need to add this too because I don't think I own this movie, so this may be one of those ones with whatever else that I add. Normally, when we do these lists, I need to get and buy so I can rewatch it. But yeah, that's my number 10.
Okay, what's your number 9?
My number 9, I went with Bridge of Spies.
That's my number 8, so we can talk about it.
Look at that. So yeah, this one I've only seen the one time, but I remember like being really impressed with pretty much everything about it. It's like a Cold War, like Tom Hanks is a lawyer, right? I think he's a lawyer, right?
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
Yeah, and he takes on the case of like a
Russian spy.
Yeah, and no one really wants to do it, but he kind of does it. And it's really cool. Who's the guy in this? That
Mark Rylance.
Mark Rylance. Yeah, didn't he win like an Oscar for this movie?
Yeah, he stole Sylvester Stallone an Oscar.
Yeah, that's true. I remember you were, but yeah, I really like this movie. This is another one that I'd like to own one day and rewatch because I remember really enjoying it. I like. I'm not the big, like sometimes I'm iffy on spy movies, but this one I really like. Maybe that's when I talked about this last too, was in the spy movie time.
No, we've talked about it before since then, I think, because spy movies was like back in 2018 of the Easy Cage history. I love Bridge of Spies. It's one of those films. It made my top 10 the year it came out, which was 2015, which is we were doing top 10s at that time. And I love Tom Hanks in the movie. I love it. What I like about it is Tom Hanks is basically his whole thing about keeping Mark Rylance alive was because if one of our spies gets captured, we'll have a bargaining chip, and that actually happens during the U2 plane. He goes to Berlin to negotiate, and I think Tom Hanks is absolutely incredible in this movie. I love Tom Hanks and Spielberg. This is actually my favorite Tom Hanks Spielberg. Well, no, actually, it's not. But this is my favorite Tom Hanks led Spielberg film.
Okay.
So yeah, love Bridge of Spies.
All right. My next one, my number 7, is that it? Yeah. No, my number 8. My number 8 is War of the Worlds.
Yeah, I don't care for this movie.
No. This is one that I is another one I need to go back and watch, but it's a remake of
1950s, I believe.
Yeah, which I haven't seen. So this is a more modern retelling of it. Stars Tom Cruise, and there's a young Dakota Fanning in there too. I remember this movie. I don't like the way.
Don't forget about Son Goku in this movie.
Oh yeah, Justin Chatwin.
Yeah.
I like when Spielberg goes into little sci-fi stuff. Like he doesn't do it enough, I feel like, but I like this movie. I think it's fun. It's not it's not as serious as some of his other movies, but it's a good time. It's a little depressing and a little. It's kind of reminds me of like an Independence Day kind of movie. So yeah, I'm a sucker for those kind of movies.
For me, it's just boring. To be honest with you, once you get to
Oh,
like the first part of the movie is like, yeah, it's okay. You just see Tom Cruise kind of running away from stuff. He's trying to be this dad. He's really not that great of a dad.
it's not good.
Let
Yeah.
his son just run off. Like the only part of the movie I really remember the most is whenever Tom Cruise wears the Yankee hat, and his son wears the Boston hat. He's like, Boston, and that's like the only part of the movie I really recall. And I think the movie's just it's very mediocre Spielberg movies, and I'm not saying I mean sometimes Spielberg is on it. This is one of those movies where I was like, yeah, he wasn't on. This is one of those remakes he should just left on the original cut. So
It felt good for this list too, because he's doing remaking West Side Story, which is not, he didn't have anything to do with that, right? It's like he didn't really have anything to do with War of the Worlds. Is there other movies he's remade besides those two?
Sure there is. Maybe. Let's see. Remakes.
Because wasn't the original War of the Worlds? It was like a radio broadcast or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Orson Welles. Orson Welles did the
and people
original.
Thought it was real.
But then,
right?
but then there was a movie in the 50s and 60s,
okay.
and so there was a. I don't see anything that other than West Side Story. I don't think there's anything else that was a kind of a remake. Let's see.
I'll admit I haven't seen this movie in forever. I do own it though. And I'm a sucker for kind of end of the world kind of alien invasion kind of movies. So,
but I like Spielberg when aliens aren't necessarily Nazis or they're just coming in to kill us all. I kind of like the E.T. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, more the or like even like an Arrival. Those are my kind of alien contact movies. I know you're just like boom, doom, dumb, alien action, Tom Cruise, popcorn. Oh,
I do like my dumb sci-fi movies.
okay.
All right, that's 9 through 8.
All right, my number 10 is a Spielberg film I don't believe you've seen, and that is The Post.
No, I don't. Is this the one about the newspaper or something?
Yeah, it's about the
came out last year or
the
the year
print of
before?
the Pentagon Papers. It came out a few years ago. It's
Yeah,
Tom Hanks and a lead, which I still stand by it. I still think this is probably it's Tom Hanks' best leading performance since probably like maybe like Forrest Gump. Probably, I think he's absolutely incredible in this movie. Where he's the editor of the Washington Post. You have the legendary Meryl Streep in this movie, who has a really great Oscar performance. I mean, sometimes Meryl Streep gets nominated because she's Meryl Streep, but she's really good in this movie. She didn't deserve to win the Oscar that year, but she was pretty good. Then you have other people in the movie like Bob Odenkirk. He's great in the movie. And it's got some other people in it. I've only seen the movie once, but The Post really stayed with me. It had a lot of that feels of like a All the President's Men, which is a really classic newspaper. Like if you like The Post, or if you like a movie like Spotlight, there's just something great about newspaper movies that I just absolutely enjoy.
investigative journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All right.
remember. I didn't see this one for some reason. It's got good reviews and everything. I barely remember the trailer or anything. Isn't she like a lady or Meryl Streep? She's like becoming the owner of the paper or something.
She is the owner of the paper.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think her husband died, and she kind of she has the ownership of the movie. I can't really remember everything about it. So, but yeah, that's The Post.
All
right. My number 9 is one of those alien contact movies that we just talked about a few minutes ago. and that is E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
I have that in my honorable mentions.
Yeah, this movie for me, I mean, it's I haven't seen a lot of Spielberg movies that I was wanting to watch before this list, so this probably makes the list because I didn't watch a lot of those movies, just didn't have a lot of time in the month of November, and I was lazy, and so some of these topper films, I was like, yeah, that may not have made the list, but you know, E.T. is a it's an enjoyable movie. I don't know if it's an all time classic movie. But I really there's some stuff I really like. I love the coming of age stuff. I mean, without this movie, you don't get one of your favorite Netflix series for on right now, Stranger Things, ET, like ET's cute little ugly monster creature, and some of the lines where ET phone home, and it's like I'll be right here. And the music, the iconic scene of when the bicycle goes up to the moon is and it's also a legendary score by John Williams, and Amblin Studios still has that ET thing to today. So I mean, it's kind of made its mark there. So yeah, ET is it's a great little sci-fi film, and I enjoy it.
I haven't seen this since high school, so it's been 20 plus years. But this is one of those 80s movies where I remember at the time watching it and being like, I don't get what all the hype's about. But I do remember it. I mean, it's not a bad movie. I didn't love it. But it might be one of them ones I need to rewatch, and maybe I'll have a different opinion on it because
There you go.
you're talking about the production value and the score and stuff like that. When I was in high school, wasn't really paying attention to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. All right, that's my answer eight. Because I
All
remember
right.
my number eight was Bridge of Spies.
All right. My number 7 is probably a punt. It's Jaws.
Yeah, that's a mother effing punt.
I figured. That's one of your favorites. All right. My number 6 is Ready Player One.
Yeah, it didn't make the list.
I figured it would make your list, although you do like this movie, right?
I do.
Once again, another sci-fi movie that Spielberg went into. I never read the book, but I really enjoyed the world that's in this movie. You know, a world that I feel like is probably not too far off in our future. But you know, just everybody in the video games and the cast is really good. It's a fun movie, and it's up my alley with all the sci-fi stuff. I'm trying to remember what I didn't like about it. I remember there was some stuff. I love the scene where when they go in and the house from The Shining. It's good stuff.
I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I mean, it's a fun popcorn film. I think it could have been better. It absolutely could have been a little better, maybe a little more true to the book. I haven't read the book. I've read parts of the book, and I really enjoyed some of the stuff they did in the book and how it kind of develops into this VR kind of society where everything's kind of chart where you have to pay all this money, and where in the books Percival is a little more of a poor kid. I really like the main guy. I really think he's great. I forget what his name is.
Hi, Sheridan. I
Guy
think
Sheridan.
Ben Mendelsohn is the villain. Maybe that was the
Yeah,
link.
Ben Mendelsohn's great as the villain because you know he's just such an awesome actor. I mean, he's been great villains and everything he's been in, and he's a good character actor too. I mean, he's not just a villain like in the horrible Marvel movie, Captain Marvel, where he's viewed as the villain, but he's not really the villain. When you get towards the end of the movie. So yeah, I mean, this is one I like. It's one I've rewatched multiple times. It's the one I'll watch more and more times. But you know, it's just it. I have a lot more. I had more fun Spielberg movies. I'm more attached to than Ready Player One.
All right. Well, that is my 7 through 6.
All right, my number seven is just one of the greatest portrayals of an American president and that is Lincoln.
I have this in my honorable mentions too. I'm surprised
Yeah,
you put this in your list.
you're surprised
Yeah.
because somebody is a history guy who
Yeah.
loves historical stuff,
Have you watched
and
this movie more than one time now? Just
I've watched it about 4 times.
oh, okay.
And Daniel Day-Lewis
More power to you.
he captures Abraham Lincoln. He's just such a powerful character. This movie has so many cameos in this movie. Like, do you remember Adam Driver was in this movie?
I don't remember this movie at all. I remember this movie being very boring. I do remember the performances being good. I gave it a 4 out of 5, so I liked it. But well, I'm sure when I reviewed it, I was like, I'm never going to watch this movie again, and that is the truth.
But just because movies are not rewatchable does not mean they're bad movies. Like 12 Years a Slave, incredible, heartfelt movie. Never want to watch that movie again. But I could say, hey, I've seen it. Sometimes rewatchability is not should not factor into a scoring of a movie. And a movie like Lincoln, which I find completely rewatchable, just to watch Daniel Day-Lewis play this character, and the method acting where he drives people insane. See, he talks like this, and see how he does all these things. He always tries to tell a story and everything. Like there's this one part of the movie where one of the characters, he's like, no, I cannot take another of your stories, and it just and all this, and really it's not even a biopic on Abraham Lincoln. It's more about the passing of the 13th Amendment. Tommy Lee Jones as the senator who's trying to get this pushed through Congress, and then you have this divide where the Senate is a little more evenly Democrat. It's more Republican Democrat. It's not a big number, but you have to have a 2/3 vote to pass an amendment. And it was an act. It was literally an act of Congress to pass this amendment. And Lincoln's it's just such a great movie, and I highly recommend rechecking it out because it is such a good character piece. And it's so well made by Steven Spielberg. Just like I said, this is one I've seen. I've seen this movie 4 times probably, and I'd probably watch it again tonight if I was feeling some history film to watch. I love Lincoln's a great biopic.
All right.
My number 6 is a movie I really wish you would watch because I think this is one of those Spielberg 70s films, which there's only like a couple of those, and that is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Richard Dreyfuss, the story about this guy who he sees aliens and he goes off to I forget what it is in the desert. Oh crap! But he goes off and you see all this government.
Area 51 or whatever.
No, it's not Area 51. It's like a. I can't. I'll have to look it up.
The Grand Canyon.
No, it's not the Grand Canyon. It's hold on. It's gonna bug me. So, Close Encounters.
1977. Man, just misses it by 3 years.
I hate you. Let's see. Devil's Tower. So yeah, you have Devil's Tower in the movie, and it looks beautiful. But you have this first contact with these aliens, and it's not like it is in like War of the Worlds, where this is one of those Spielberg movies that makes us really think about aliens. Like, what would the aliens really want? Do they really want to take us over, or would they want to like maybe spread their knowledge? Maybe they just want to meet humanity. And so that's what I. Yeah, I mean, that's how I want. That's what I want alien contact movies to be more. I don't want it to be kill them all. Let's murder all the humans. Let's go. And I'm like, no, let's have more of a dialogue. Let's have more of a conversation. And maybe they just want to understand what humans are. And this is a movie where it hit at Steven Spielberg's career. If he had made it, he said if he made it 20 years in the future, Richard Dreyfuss wouldn't have left his family to go off with the aliens. He would have stayed on Earth. And it's one of those things that are like, I'm glad he made it when he made it. And uh, it's a movie that was nominated for an Oscar. It was, I mean, it's a movie that has inspired a lot of different filmmakers. I mean, like Arrival. I don't think Arrival gets made without a film like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So I love this movie. It's one that you should definitely check out.
The only thing that makes me nervous, other than the fact that it's pre-1980s and my dumb rule, but it seems like it might be kind of boring because so you're saying they come down and they just pass on knowledge to us, and we're
No,
just like,
no, no.
hey, cool.
It's more if they're trying to figure out where the signal is coming from. They're trying to make contact with the aliens more so than anything.
Like
The government's trying to abuse them, and I mean, it's a good movie. I mean, you should check it out. It's definitely one worth watching.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Okay, that's my 7 through 6.
All right, my number 5. I'm going with Catch Me If You Can.
Okay, that's my number 4.
Close, but we haven't had our perfect match yet. Yeah, this one we've talked about before, but it's Leonardo DiCaprio. He plays a con man. He's a super. I don't know how you would describe him, but
he's a con man.
He pretends to be a pilot and a doctor and all these different things. And Tom Hanks, he's an FBI agent, right?
Yeah, he's FBI. He works with the Treasury Department.
Yeah, he tracks him down and stuff. It's a really good movie because this is based on a true story. And, of course, when I saw this originally back in the day, I was like, I had no idea who this guy was or never even heard of him. It's very interesting to learn about. And DiCaprio and Hanks are great in it. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I've said this.
different.
I've said this once. I'll say this again. This is Steven Spielberg's most underrated movie he's ever made, and this is Leonardo DiCaprio. I know he made Titanic before this film, but this is for me the movie that pushes Leonardo DiCaprio into that movie star. Because Titanic, not his movie. It's more of a Kate Winslet movie. It's more of a James Cameron. It's more about the ship going down. This is built on DiCaprio's acting and how he navigates. I mean, this movie launched so many people's careers. I mean, Amy Adams, she plays the nurse, Nurse Brenda in this movie. It started her career. It's got Julia Gardner. She's in this movie. It's got Elizabeth Banks in this movie. I mean, this movie's got so many people in this movie.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, Christopher Walken plays the dad, and he's Christopher Walken in the movie. I mean, that's it's like you're my boy, and I'm Frank, and you're Frank, and we're family. But you need to figure out what your real name is, Frank, and you
a pretty good Walken impression.
Well, it's not my best, but yeah, it's my favorite Walken movie because I'm not the biggest Christopher Walken fan, to be honest with you, but I really like the journey that DiCaprio's story goes through as he's this kid who's just trying to make a little money so he can continue his life. Then he does the whole flight attendant. He becomes the doctor. He becomes a lawyer, and then he works with Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks, it's that cat and mouse. It's like he's got to try to catch him. And it's just such a great movie. I mean, Catch Me If You Can is awesome.
It's definitely good. I think I watched this during the pandemic. I've watched it pretty recently. And, it's good. Holds up. So a very different Spielberg film too.
Yeah, that's why I give it so many credit, because it breaks a lot of that Spielberg mode of the same kind of genre he does. Really good. It's just it's more fun, but it's not a sci-fi. It's not a big historical drama like when he did like Schindler's List or like The Color Purple. So it's or a historical drama like a big history. I mean, it is history, but it's not like Lincoln or War Horse or like that war movie. I can't think of at the moment. Saving Private Ryan. So it's very different historical film in his sense. So okay, my number 5 is just such an awesome movie. It really It's just one of the great action movies and created one of the most iconic movie characters of all time, and that is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Bum, 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 bum. That's my number 4. I like how we swapped them.
Yeah, so Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, for me, it created. I mean, being inspired by the him and George Lucas creating the characters based off the old serials they watch as kids, and Lucas said, well, since Spielberg was wanting to make a James Bond movie and he just couldn't get the rights, and he said, well, and Lucas was like, well, let's make our own character. We'll call him Indiana Smith. And like Spielberg's like, no, let's try another name. What about Joe? Indiana Jones. He said that works. And Harrison Ford, I mean, just iconic action in this movie. The boulder rolling to swash them is just such an iconic scene in the movie, which has been used in like a lot of video games, especially the Naughty Dog franchise.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and then the villains, the Nazis. I love the Nazis as the villains in this movie. And yeah, I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark is just such a fun movie. It is so good, it will melt your face off. So good.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about this movie.
Yeah, we did an Easy Cage Reviews, which is a series that is currently on pause due to Randy Cage's inability to watch Lord of the Rings.
But everything you said, I mean, it's got so many iconic scenes. Harrison Ford's great in it. It's just a fun adventure film, and yeah, it's people are inspired by this all the time. Video game makers, other movie, so yeah, it's great. And I don't know if I knew that story about till you said it last time about the whole Spielberg wanting to make a Bond movie and did this instead. That's kind of cool.
And that's why I've said this before on the show that I think anybody can play Indiana Jones, because just like with they create the character to be like a James Bond, where someone else can basically pick up the hat and become the character. I think it's very similar to a James Bond, where I would be interested to see if somebody else could become James Bond, because we've seen it, or become Indiana Jones because we've seen it, and we'll probably talk about that in a few minutes.
How much? You think he can become Indiana Jones?
Who?
You don't even know, because you won't watch the dang movie.
You mean the fan film made by Steven Spielberg, which is great. I mean, great fan film. He even got that movie released in theaters. But he even got some of the character actors and everything. I mean, it's
Shia LaBeouf. They were setting him up to be the next Indiana Jones. He was supposed to be his son. I'm wondering how they're going to handle that in the new movie. Are they just going to ignore it completely?
Probably ignore it. So,
we're not going to even talk about it, because they were definitely setting him up to be the next Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So, all right. That was your number 4. So, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Saving Private Ryan. A movie we've talked about a million times, and you ought never put it on your list, because you are like, it's not the best opening D-Day scene ever, and then the rest of the movie sucks, which is a bunch of bull crap.
I agree with everything you just said.
The movie is freaking awesome. Yes, that D-Day scene is amazing, and when you go to the theaters and see this, I'm pretty sure I saw this in theaters. I don't know. It was 98. I was a young man. It's that first 30 minutes is just, you're just blown away. Is the rest of the movie as good? No, but I still think it's a good movie. I enjoy the story, and Tom Hanks is great in the film. I would say he's the lead of this movie for sure, even though it's got a lot of other cool people in it. It's got Matt Damon, Edward Burns, Vin Diesel's in there. I feel like we've talked about this movie 100 times, because it's always on my list, because it's one of the best war movies ever made. And I think Spielberg deserves that Oscar that he got for this movie.
He didn't win an Oscar for this movie.
Sir, let's see.
He won a movie. He won the Oscar.
Didn't this movie win Best Picture? This movie won Best Picture.
No, Shakespeare in Love won Best Picture that year.
You might be right.
You can look it up.
I'm looking it up.
So Indeed.
Oh, you got best directing. So there you go. Boom.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, for me, the opening of the movie is incredible. And I knew this movie would be on your list, so I did a classic move where I knew it was going to be on the list. So I felt like let's talk about some other movies as well. So
So you're
did I
saying it would
cheat?
have made your list had you not known
It'd
that it
been
was
number.
already going to be on the
It
list
would have.
because of me?
It would have been 10.
10. Okay. Yeah.
But really, I see myself watching the posts more than I watch the first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, but the rest of the movie I kind of want to turn
To
off
me,
because
this movie is
I don't
way
like Matt.
more.
I don't like Matt Damon's character when he's whenever they find him and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna give up." Dude, people sacrifice their life for you, and you're gonna be that guy who ends up getting the rest of those guys killed. Yeah, okay. I'm sure that's a great character of that David.
It's
You go, guy. But I mean, the ending's great. I mean, the emotional breakdown of future Matt David's guy, and tell me I'm a good man. Tell me I live a good life. And I mean that stuff's pretty good. But but it takes for me. I just don't like the road trip to get to that. To just the open. If the whole movie is like that opening movie,
You
it's
want like a
an awesome.
1912 where it's just nonstop.
Yeah, 1912 is incredible.
But I don't know. I like this movie. I think it's one of his best ones. That's why I put it up so high. And I would totally watch this many times over like something like Lincoln, or I haven't seen The Post, but even something like Bridge of Spies. Like I want to rewatch Bridge of Spies, but I don't know, man. Those more slower, like I don't know, historical type movies, they're just not as good as the epic war film here we got.
Yeah, okay. Okay. My number 3 is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
See, I was wondering if you were going to do this because it's in my honorable mentions because it's great, but I only wanted to do one Indiana Jones. So
No, I have to have both Indiana Jones movies in my list
okay.
because they're both in his top 5 movies. This is top 10 Steven Spielberg, and both movies are just serving in the top 10. So because I like Last Crusade better than like Raiders, which I know some people probably consider a little blasphemy, but I think Last Crusade's a better movie because it's a little better story because Raiders Lost Ark. You take Indiana Jones out of the movie, the Nazis find the the Ark of the Covenant. They go to the island, they open it up, and their faces get melted off. The only thing that Indiana Jones basically achieves in the movie is making sure the thing gets relocated to like the National Archives. So that's really all that Indiana Jones accomplishes in the movie because he was really supposed to bring it back to the museum and he doesn't even get that done. But Last Crusade, what I really like about it is I like the beginning of the movie where you get to see River Lawrence as a young Indiana Jones. And he kind of has that little what you would see Harrison Ford do, and that's why I've said someone else can play Indiana Jones because we've already seen it. River Phoenix is a great Indiana Jones,
For like
and
5 seconds.
and I think it would have been cool to see him play at Indiana Jones if he hadn't died. Also, in this movie, you have the Nazis are back, but then you also have Grand Maester Pycelle as the main villain of the movie as he's trying to find the Holy Grail. And then you bring in one of the best parts of the movie, his dad, who is played by the late Sean Connery, who it's really not that much older than Harrison Ford, but the movie sells it. Junior, and the movie's so quotable at times, and like it's like whatever he said, he was like, "I didn't know you had to fly a plane." He's like, "Fly, yes, land, no." And like Sean Connery shoots the airplane, and he's like, what's going on, Dad?" And he said, they got the son. I mean, this movie is just it's an absolutely classic, and then the ending of the you chose poorly, and the ending where he chooses the it's just such an awesome movie as it right off into the sunset, and we're still waiting for Indiana Jones to return to the movie screen. It's a perfect. It ends like a western, and I love this movie.
I can't believe not only do you have both of these in your top 10, but you have them both so high that they're going to be in our top 10, both of them.
Yeah, damn.
I mean, out of the
Straight.
40 Spielberg movies, we're going to have two of this from the same franchise.
But really, Indiana Jones is the only film series he's done more than one movie.
That's not true.
There it is.
Mm-mm.
He didn't direct any of the other Jaws. He directed the first Jaws. What else did
we'll talk about it when we get to my number one. My number two is
oh god, that movie would not have made that second movie would not have made the top 10 Spielberg.
I agree with everything you said about it. About freaking The Last Crusade. It's a great movie, but like I said, I just stuck with one Indiana Jones movie. That was your number three?
Yeah.
So my number two is Minority Report, which I'm assuming you still have not watched.
Yeah, it was on top of my PlayStation 4 prepared to watch this weekend. I watched college football instead, and I just did not get the energy to watch a movie. I just didn't feel like it. So
I've talked about this before, but it's Tom Cruise again. Colin Farrell is kind of the villain of this movie, but he's really just investigating Tom Cruise. There's a pre-crime division. Basically, they use these sentient beings to they have visions of crimes before they actually happen, so they arrest people before they actually commit crimes like murder and things like that. But they trial run this in Washington D.C. and for like 3 or 4 years or something, and they have no more crime after they do this. So they're getting ready to expand it globally, and Tom Cruise he works for the pre-crime division, but he's also accused of murder in some way. So that's kind of your story, is he's trying to prove his innocence and stuff like that. But it is so cool. There's some stuff in this movie that predicts the future almost of the way things are going now, with surveillance and things like that. But it's a really cool movie. Once again, I'll say this is one of my favorite sci-fi movies. It's one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies, and it's one of my favorite Spielberg movies. So you should definitely watch it sometime. But I really like it.
Yeah, it's one I'm going to watch next year if Top Gun 2 gets made, if it comes out next year, which is a very big if. When it comes out, we are doing, which we were supposed to do this year, we were going to do top 10 Tom Cruise movies, which is a list, and there was a few films that I was going to watch, and Minority Report was number one on that list. But since I didn't make the cut for Spielberg, I'll watch it for Tom Cruise. I got plenty of time to do it, and yeah, so we'll talk about that when it comes out. So, all right, my number two is, I know it's your number one. It's Jurassic Park.
Punt.
No. No.
We talked about the movie 100 times.
Right, but we'll talk about it 101 more times. Yeah. So Jurassic Park is incredible. I mean, it's really the movie. It's very simple in its concept, if you really think about it, because it's not this whole global thing. It's just about these scientists where John Heyman just wants to get these people to endorse his park so he can sell it to the media. It's basically it's like movies trying to get critics to like their movies before the big rollout to their fields. And then you see the park, and it's movie magic at its finest. Whenever they see the dinosaurs for the first time, the iconic John Williams score, and it's something we haven't talked a lot about in a lot of these films, but the Steven Spielberg score, or the John Williams scores for these movies, I don't know if they're as good as they are if you don't have those iconic movie scores like with John Williams. I mean, they're just incredible. The characters in this movie are great. Ian Malcolm, to Professor Grant, Ellie, and like there are other cool characters in this movie too. But but really, it's about the dinosaurs as well. It's not about the humans; it's about the dinosaurs. And the dinosaurs still have not looked better than this first movie. And really wish this was the only Jurassic Park movie because I have no interest in any day Jurassic Park after the first movie because I think the rest of them they're all about the same. They're all pretty terrible. So, so I don't really blame Spielberg for that. I mean, he is a producer, but I did.
He directed the second one, though, is what I was talking about. He
said I know.
Which is
it's good. It's funny though because I always block out Spielberg and after the first Jurassic Park movie, so which is basically trying to be Godzilla at the end. So.
I love this movie. Score. It's one of my favorite. It's a perfect movie. I think it's top 5 movie for me. And
top 20 for me. So.
I'll never let it die. And I do love the franchise as a whole. Yes, they've never reached the greatness of this first movie, but
not even close.
I would still say that the second movie is still the best, the closest it got.
I'm close, man.
The Jurassic World movies are goofy. They tried to do in Jurassic World 2, I think it was, or maybe it was the first one where they had all the long neck dinosaurs laid out, and that was like the one scene where they were like, we're going to use real stuff, and it looked pretty good, but it was like 30 seconds of the movie where they weren't using CG dinosaurs anymore. Because you're right, these still hold up and they look great. And yeah, this movie.
Listen, the last Jurassic World movie, I was pissed. I watched that movie. And it's a movie I borrowed from you, and I'm glad I watched it at home because if I got it in theaters, I probably would have walked out of the movie.
I went and saw it twice, I think. Maybe 3 times in theaters. That's just how much of a fan I am of the Jurassic.
I don't know what's wrong with you. Like I don't know what's wrong with you at points. With movies.
Who knows? Maybe this is what they've already said they're making another one. So I was like, oh my god, it's never gonna die. I wish this next one would be the end of it, but it's not gonna be.
Yeah. So. All right, my number 1 is without this movie, you don't get Jurassic Park, and you don't get a bunch of other movies, and that is Jaws.
This is the first big blockbuster, right?
Yes, this is the movie that created the summer blockbuster. And Jaws, I mean, the movie has such great character. I mean, first off, it's commercially made to be like, yeah, it's a shark movie. Yeah, it's goofy. Yeah, but this movie, so much stuff went wrong making this movie. And for a director like Steven Spielberg to be able to get out of the water and make a good movie, the animatronic didn't work. He's such a movie perfectionist. He wanted the animatronic to work in salt water, and it didn't work. And but he was like, well, we'll use shadows. We'll use an awesome score by John Williams, and it'll be more of a horror movie. And for that alone, makes the movie absolutely brilliant. The characters in this movie are great. The conversation about the Captain Quint, about how he was on the Arizona, how he lost his brothers, and in the quotes, it's like, we're gonna need a bigger boat. And then like even compare this to like what COVID last year with governors acting like the mayor from Jaws. He said, "Those beaches will be open. People want to be on the beaches on the 4th of July. They want to celebrate America. Those beaches will be open." And that was basically a lot of governors in 2020.
Let's not bring politics into this, sir.
I'm just saying but a lot of governors, every time it was like that scene from the horrible Ghostbusters where Kristen Wiig's like, "You're worse than the mayor from Jaws," and like it's like the only part.
Well, I don't even remember that.
The only part of the movie I laughed.
Yeah, I mean Jaws is great. It's got that kind of M Night. M Night took inspiration from this movie because which I'm sure everybody takes inspiration from this movie, but what you don't see can sometimes be scarier than what you actually do see on the
Yes.
screen. And that is one of M Night's things that I still hold true. I like in Signs, and the fact that he hides the aliens. It's directly inspired by this movie. Of course, in this movie they did it because, like you said, they had production issues and malfunctions, and so he just kind of made it happen. But it's a good movie. You talk up some parts about this movie that I find boring for because this is a summer blockbuster movie, and there's some character building and
Yeah,
things like that scene
but
on the boat that you
that's
acted
what
was the
made for
greatest scene
me.
ever. I was
But
bored at that scene.
but for me, you need those scenes, otherwise the movie's just bland noise. And yeah, you like those movies like The Meg, watching Jason Statham punch a shark. But I want a fun movie. But I want some good dramatic stuff that I can make like, oh wait, there's that scene right there. There's other scenes. There's so many more things that makes Jaws not just a blockbuster, but it makes it a great movie. And there's more to being. You could be a good blockbuster film and be a good movie at the same time. They don't have to be one. You don't have to
I
just be the
understand,
one
but
thing.
I'm just saying that part bores me in this movie. That I'm not that part on the boat that you're talking about. Like it kind of takes me out of the movie because I was kind of bored for that part.
They know what
But
they're fighting for.
I don't. It seems like it doesn't even belong really. But
Whatever.
I like the movie. It's good, um, and I think I own it now because I got it when maybe not. Maybe I borrowed it from you. I can't remember, but it's good. I don't know if it's the greatest movie of all time. That's my only thing. I like it's
It's in
this
my.
is your
Like I
best
said,
Spielberg
like
movie.
listen. I went back and looked at my top 100 movies that I did last year, and four of the movies I talked about are movies that are in my top 10 or top hundreds, and I believe both Jurassic Park and Jaws were in the top 20s, and then I had like Indiana Jones was in like the 30s and 40s, and then like Catch Me If You Can was in like the 70s or 60s part of my list. So I mean, for all those, and then there's other movies I want to watch for Spielberg, but and then he makes quality work pretty much every time, except for maybe like the BFG. Like that one was just, it was
That
goofy.
was fun. I didn't hate the
It's,
BFG.
I
I
just
more
said
think
I
that
said it was goofy.
yeah,
So
the Terminal. That one is the like I remember going to the theaters and seeing that with
yeah, but
Tom
the
Hanks.
Terminal wasn't that half made by Stanley Kubrick, or was that
No,
the?
maybe you're thinking AI. That was the one that was half made by Stanley Kubrick. Uh, the Terminal is boring, and I can't. Yeah, I don't know. And it's always on everybody's list of the least favorite Steven Spielberg movie. I remember going to theaters and seeing that and being like, "God damn, this is boring." so, but for the most part, you're right. He makes good movies. I like the BFG. I mean, it's goofy. It's got fart
That's
jokes
why I
and
said
stuff.
it's goofy.
Yeah,
It's service. It's
yeah,
goofy. It's just
yeah.
it's not the Spielberg caliber film that I'm used to. So that I want. All right, let's compile this list. I already put Jurassic Park at number one. I put
Woo!
Jaws at number two. Um, let's see. We both have Raiders at. I have it at five. You have it at four. I have Catch Me If You Can at four. You have it at five. So I think, because I was gonna fight for Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade at three over Minority Report.
At two.
No, at three. I already
Yeah,
said
I
three.
had Minority Report at two.
Oh,
Mine's
did you?
higher
Oh,
rated. Yeah.
I hate you. Fine.
They're gonna both be in here, man. What's it
I
matter what we
know.
rank?
That's it's
Double
whatever.
the Indiana Jones.
All right. So I had Catch Me If You Can at four. You had Raiders at five. So let's go Catch Me If You Can at four. Is that fine with you?
Sure.
Okay. Then we'll go Raiders at five. Okay. So I had Last Crusade at 3. What was your number 3?
Same Private Ryan.
Okay.
So there, I'd say, yeah. Go Last Crusade. You name the dog after me?
We named the dog Indianta.
Oh.
Okay, I had Close Encounters at 6. What was your number 6?
Boop, 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 boop. Ready Player One.
Okay. All right, let's reveal the list to the Easy Cage fans. The top 10 Steven Spielberg movies. Yeah. At number 10, Ready Player One. At number 9, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. At number 8, Bridge of Spies. At number 7, Saving Private Ryan. At number 6, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. At number 5, Raiders of the Lost Ark. At number 4, Catch Me If You Can. At number 3, Minority Report. At number 2, Jaws. And the number 1 Steven Spielberg film is Jurassic Park.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
I don't really have any honorable mentions. I mean, we talked about a lot of them. There's some movies I was wanting to watch. Munich, always heard that's a really good Spielberg movie. I was wanting to watch Minority Report, and I was wanting to watch Schindler's List. Schindler's List was a movie that won Best Picture for. It was more like more like a Scorsese, made in black and white. It's got Liam Neeson saving Jews from Nazis. I was wanting to watch that movie, but it's a long movie, and it's one of those that I want to watch. It's just I haven't ever.
Supposedly one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah. So it's also one of those. It's one of those movies that you'd be like, "Oh, I don't like it because I can't rewatch it because it's probably a movie you only want to watch one time."
Yeah. I had E.T. and Lincoln, which were on your list as my honorable mentions, and then I had the other Indiana Jones, Last Crusade. No, I didn't have Temple of Doom, although I don't hate that one either. I had Artificial Intelligence, which is one I want to go back and watch sometime. It's really long, and it's like you said, half done by Stanley Kubrick. But I remember it's a more serious movie, but I remember liking it because it's like it's sci-fi. I like sci-fi stuff. But yeah, that's another one where I was like, oh yeah, I need to see that. There's still some holes in my Spielberg library.
There's some in mine too. I mean, so yeah, maybe in a few years, it depends on how much longer he does films. This will be a list that we'll have to maybe go back and re-update. So and that's kind of fun to think.
What's he doing after West Side Story?
I don't know. He's got so many movies that he's always in talks of making. Let's see.
I know what it is. It's freaking Indiana.
No, he's not doing Indiana Jones.
He's not directing it?
No, it's a guy who did Logan and.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Let's see.
He's getting this. How old is Spielberg?
He's getting old. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing really official. So.
Yeah, I was gonna pull up his IMDb, but IMDb is slugging today. So, but anyways, it's a good list.
Let's see. He's making something called the Fablemans. No idea what that is. Let's see.
Okay, producer. I don't care about.
Oh, it's a biopic movie of his. The film will be loosely based on Spielberg's childhood growing up in Arizona. Sure.
And he's going to direct it?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's the only movie on his list. Huh.
Okay, guys, that ends another episode of the Easy K Show. Guys, I hope you enjoyed episode 159 on a very different day. Hopefully, next week we'll be back on the same, but who knows? Next week, me and Rennie Cage will be talking about.
Oh,
We'll be
wow,
talking
we're
about
already Cowboy Bebop
Cowboy.
again.
We'll be talking about Cowboy Bebop next week, and next week we'll have our very first guest host. It's going to be very interesting. We're bringing in a Cowboy Bebop expert. Maybe we don't know if he'll make it because his crazy
Hopefully he'll
schedule.
watch it.
But we don't know if he'll watch the show because last time we talked to him, he's only watched one episode of the series. And I've actually finished Cowboy Bebop, surprisingly enough. And so you can check out my full thoughts of the movie or of the show. Actually, on Thursday, I'll have my review of Cowboy Bebop, and then you'll have a live discussion with me, Rennie Cage, and our guest host. So looking forward to talking through a lot of stuff Cowboy Bebop. I'm looking forward. I like discussing stuff. I mean, it's why we do this show every week. But I like, and sometimes you don't have people you can talk to nerdy stuff. Like there's the big Marvel movies that you can talk with generic movie people, but people like Cowboy Bebop, or you're just like, yeah, I have no interest in talking about that. This show gives you a platform where you can talk to people about that. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so guys, check out Rennie Cage at his letterbox. I do not know what he's reviewed lately. Probably nothing. You can check out my. You can check out my YouTube channel. I just posted some TV reviews. I have a review of the first season of The Morning Show. I also have a review of. I can't remember. So,
I watched your morning show review. It was very good.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. You can check out the second season review on Wednesday. And then I'll have reviews of the latest season of My Hero Academia, along with Morning Show Season 2, and a review of Cowboy Bebop, which comes out Thursday before our epic discussion of Cowboy Bebop's season. We'll talk about it next week. So, guys, until next week, all too easy.